fans, it is Friday, March 6th, and we've got such a busy show for you coming up today. Just had full time in Auckland, and we have just had kickoff in Brisbane. We had 2 Thursday night games. We've got audio from all 4 press conferences. We're going to talk to the Mole. Where do we start? Why don't we start with that amazing win by the Warriors at home to the Roosters? 42 points to 18. Would you believe? It was half-time was 22-6 to the Wars. Let's go through all those tries. I want to make sure I pluck out the guys who got 2 chances. Sorry, Chanel Harris Tavita scored in the 33rd and 75th minutes. Tanner Boyd in the 11th. Adam Pompey in the 23rd. Kurt Capel in the 27th. Leka Halasima in the 46th. And Charles Nickel Clockstar in the 78th. Tanner Boyd, he kicked 7 from 8, including 1 penalty goal. For the Roosters, who had a bit of a sniff when Daly Cherry Evans had a try disallowed early in the second half. James Tedesco in the 15th. Billy Smith in the 50th. Angus Crichton in the 55th. Sam Walker booting 3 from 3. Okay, let's go straight across the Tasman, where the game has just kicked off in Brisbane. It's Brisbane at home to Penrith. What a blockbuster game in round 1 that is. Go through the teams for the Broncos. From fullback, Reece Walsh, Josiah Karapani, Katoni Staggs, Gemet Shibasaki, Dean Mariner, Ben Hunt back in the starting side, Adam Reynolds the captain, and the forwards Corey Jensen, Corey Pakes, Payne Haas, Jack Gazeski, Jordan Ricky, Pat Carrigan, and the bench is Ezra Mam, Xavier Willison, Ben Tolte, Ablix Tawa, Grant Anderson, and Jaden Hunt. And for the Penny Panthers, from fullback Dylan Edwards, Paul Alamotti, Casey McLean, Thomas Jenkins, Brian To'o, Blaze Talangi, Nathan Cleary, Moses Leota, Mitch Kenny, Lindsay Smith, Luke Garner, Isaiah Papali'i, and Isaiah Yeo. The bench is Isaac Tungo, Scott Sorensen, Jack Cogger, Kalani Going, Freddie Lussick, and Billy Phillips. And our referee is Adam G. In the bunker is Ashley Klein. And finally, a thing we do every time we have this show, when we get the opportunity, and this is probably one of the shows where if we're ever going to drop it, we would, because we're so packed. But it's Rugby League birthdays. Mel Graham, the country great from Newcastle, 65 today. Patrick Salal, the French winger, 65 today. Alan Bateman, the Welsh three-quarter, 61 today. Let's scroll down. Adam Fogarty, who appeared in Fight Club with Brad Pitt, he is 57 today. Ash Gordon, Ash the Flash from Newcastle, is 57 today. And let's just scroll down here a little bit in this great list, and I recommend rugbyleagueproject.org if this sort of stuff interests you. Luke Yates, I knew there was another one I wanted to mention. Luke Yates from Warrington has just re-signed at the club, 31 today. Okay, that's it. That's the introduction to this episode of Good Morning League fans, and after the break we'll be back with some news from Lang Park, and we'll also begin our audio. And I did mention the Mole's coming up at the end of the program. We have points at Suncorp Stadium. It was Casey McLean scoring in the southeastern corner, Nathan Cleary's bomb, and it was kind of tapped back to him, and it was approved by the bunker, by Ashley Klein, that there hadn't been a knock-on in the build-up. Casey McLean, the New Zealander who now wants to play Origin, he opens the scoring, and the conversion attempt from Cleary, it hit the left upright and did not go through. So it is 4-0 with 7 minutes gone. Penrith over Brisbane. Now let's get into some audio from yesterday's NRL game, and we're talking about the fact that it's 24 years undefeated in round 1 for Melbourne, 23 under Craig Bellamy, and I believe there was a bye in there somewhere as well. But anyway, Harry Grant was asked about that record following that massive win that the Storm enjoyed over Parramatta in round 1 on Thursday night.
Yeah, for sure. I think, to be fair, yeah, it was probably spoken about a little bit because it was going to be there as a bit of noise and that. And at the end of the day, it's just an outcome of how we perform, how we prepare, and ultimately the work you've done in the pre-season, you get a chance to showcase it. But I think, the playing group really respects it, and at the end of the day, there's a lot of old boys sitting at home watching, knowing that they've contributed to that as a part of the history of the club. Whether you call it a record or a streak, whatever, but there's plenty of people that have played a part in that, and hopefully they can be pretty proud that it's still rolling.
Penrith really in the ascendancy at Lang Park. They still lead, or a short time ago, it was 4-0 Penrith over Brisbane. Maybe the Broncos form continuing from the World Club Challenge. Next up in the audio, we've got Jason Ryles, the coach of Parramatta, and he is discussing what he saw as the reasons behind that 52-4 defeat at Amy Park last night.
We didn't get to the ends of our sets like we planned to. Then we had one in the bin, and then fatigue grew, and I thought we did it pretty well before half time, even though it was 18-4, and we got in that cycle. But then after half time, we just fell away and basically spent our whole half camped down our end on the back of our errors, and they got 3 of the test spine there, and if you give them that much opportunity and don't tackle well, then you get what you deserve.
Penrith just making a break there, but coming up with a fumble at the crucial moment. We are a quarter of the way through this NRL game at Suncorp Stadium. It's Penrith against Brisbane, and the Panthers hold a 4-0 lead. Coming up, some more audio from Thursday games, this time from Super League. It was a 14-10 victory to Wakefield over Hull FC at the DIY Kitchen Stadium. And coming up is what Daryl Powell had to say about that success, the coach there of the Wakefield Trinity side.
A nervous game, I thought, from both teams. I just thought it felt like a really important game, strangely, at this part of the season. Fourth round, weird really, but it was a nervous game that could have gone either way. I thought we dominated the second half. First half were just chaotic. I think the game is like that at the moment, and it's trying to hold your nerve through the way the game is, and I don't think we did that well in the first half, and then we get those points at the end of the half which sort of balanced the game out, and then I thought we dominated the second half. I thought territory wise we dominated it. I don't think we ever really nailed our attacking game. Thought defensively was a big improvement from us today. I thought we were tough and durable, and obviously in the second half, just territory wise, we particularly dominated that half of rugby league. But it's a big win for us. Really crazy to say it, but I thought we looked a little bit nervous with the ball today, and we couldn't quite get away from Hull. And it was a tough game. It was a tough game. What a great! I don't think it was, for a coach, it's not a great game to watch. But then when you reflect on it, there's a lot of qualities that you want to see in a rugby league team that we turned up with today, and that was probably the most pleasing thing.
More points for the Penny Panthers. It was Dylan Edwards, the fullback for the Pennies, stepped off his left foot and sliced through the Brisbane goal line defence for maybe a somewhat soft try, and it was converted by Nathan Cleary, and that scoreline now ticks over to Penrith 10, Brisbane 0. And I've got some exciting news for everyone. We've added at the very last minute a game to our schedule, and it's tonight UK time. It is an 8 o'clock kickoff, and Lee Leopards are at home to the Dragons of Catalans, and Jason Costigan will be doing the honours. So that's a late addition to our calling schedule. It's Lee versus Catalans tonight UK time, 8 p.m. Now let's also, talking of Super League, let's go back to last night. Here's John Cartwright, coach of Hull FC, discussing that 14-10 loss at Wakefield.
Let it get away a bit in the second half. Just the tail end of the first half too. That we just made some errors. Even the error that they scored the try on half time. If we just lock it under our arm and get the end of the set, they don't score that try. So it's really hurting us. It's costing us. It was the same last week. Probably a little bit better this week with our ball control. I thought we looked pretty organised in general. But yeah, just too many errors and some end of sets. Just not ideal for us tonight. Yeah, we looked. Like I said, I thought we looked okay with the ball for the majority. But when you don't build pressure, that's when. It's hard to score points. On the back of just one decent set, you got to go. You got to go set for set, and wait for which is what they did to us. So that second half, we really struggled to get out of our own end.
Penrith have extended their lead over Brisbane at Lang Park. It's a long-range penalty goal from Nathan Cleary. Penrith 12, Brisbane 0. Penrith 12, Brisbane 0. And hot off the presses, here is the coach of the Sydney Roosters after that huge 42-18 defeat at the hands of the Warriors at Go Media Stadium. A reaction now from Trent Roberts.
It's footy. It's round one. There's some disappointing, obviously, first half in how that went. Things were sort of swung against us there and it got out, and I thought I really enjoyed the fight back in that second half. I felt like we were coming, the momentum had shifted, we'd made that move, and then we just didn't execute well enough to we had enough possession there with sort of 15 to go to go after them, and we credit to them, they held us out, and then it turned around. But the story's 42 points is unacceptable for a game. No matter how you feel or how it went, there's no way that that's acceptable in a performance, and we know that. And it's pretty simple. We've got to make sure we fix that up.
Welcome back to Good Morning League fans. We are following the match at Suncorp Stadium. Penrith visiting the Premiers, Brisbane, and just short of half-time. Penrith 12, Brisbane 0. Half-time at Suncorp Stadium, and would you believe Penrith now lead the Premiers 18 points to 0. Jenkins with a try. Thomas Jenkins in the final minute of the first half, and Nathan Cleary has converted that from the touchline. So let's go through the details at half-time. It is tries to Casey Maguire in the 5th minute, Dylan Edwards in the 19th, Thomas Jenkins in the 39th. And it is 3 from 4 to Nathan Cleary versus the Broncos. Duck egg. Half-time at Suncorp Stadium. It's Penrith 18, Brisbane 0. And now, also hot off the presses, after the 42-18 success against Sydney Roosters, we can hear from the Warriors coach, Andrew Webster.
It was a nicer watch for the last 5 minutes, that's for sure, or 3 minutes. But lots to tidy up. Big momentum swing still when we look like we're on top. I think like Roger Nelly scored in the left-hand corner, then the next set they scored in their left corner. So, that's still to tidy up, that sort of stuff for us. Yeah, massive. I think those two players in particular had a few more. Jackson forward was amazing. I thought we scrambled really well. I thought there was some really good resilience at times, but then at times I thought we gifted them. I think out of the whole NRL, they're the hardest to tackle, like individually, from man for man. Offloads, passing, they're really gifted at that. So you've got to be on your game and make your tackles, and I just felt like we didn't do that individually enough at times.
So welcome back to Good Morning League fans, and it's our favourite guest now back in the Southern Hemisphere, Tony Adams. Tony, how is your jet lag?
Yeah, I'm feeling it, Steve. My eyes are a little bit heavy. I got back yesterday, but with all that's going on in the Northern Hemisphere, I'm glad we're at the arse end of the world at the moment. I don't think they're worrying about sending any missiles our way. They probably couldn't reach us. Good to be back home. Nice week in Bucks. But
it was. Sorry, Tony.
Yeah, no, it was very good in Vegas, and might I say, I met a lot of very nice Hull KR and Leeds fans who somehow recognised the mole, probably through this platform.
So, Tony, amazing third game in round one, wasn't it? Melbourne Storm just putting the cleaners through Para. What'd you make of that?
Yeah, well, I was saying off air, but before we started, I had my doubts a little bit about Melbourne this year. They'd lost a couple of players, notably Eli Katoa, who's probably the world's best second rower. They had question marks over a couple of blokes. Para was supposed to be building to something, but I think we all expected a close game. To score 50 points, there's an adage in the NRL, if you get 50 points against you, it's impossible to win the comp. It hasn't happened since 1908. So I guess we put the red felt pen through Parramatta after 80 minutes.
Let's move on with your column, Tony, and a fellow whose career we covered, Tom Leroy Lars. You've led your column off with his son, Caden. Is that right, Caden?
Well, Caden is on the Broncos hit list, as it were, to replace Payne Haas in 2027. The favourite's probably Mitch Barnett, who actually met with Michael Maguire in the last few days. He's leaving the New Zealand Warriors, coming back to Australia on compassionate grounds, and would be a great fit for the Broncos. And probably if they had their choice between a seasoned international like Barnett and a kid, Caden Lars, they'd go Barnett's way. But there's also about half a dozen other clubs after Barnett. So it's a very interesting situation developed all since that Payne Haas bombshell a couple of weeks ago.
And a lot of people watching that Dragons Bulldogs game last week in extra time were going, "Oh, did they?" And obviously there was a controversial ruling on a ball strip there. So a lot of people said, "Well, it should have been a captain's challenge." It's not currently allowed under the rules, but it might be soon, Tony.
Yeah, that's right. Well, the Dragons lost their challenge in regular time, but Shane Flanagan, the coach, and a couple of journos in the press conference got our heads together, and we thought you really should get your captain's challenge back, or certainly get it restarted in Golden Point, because they're the decisions that are going to make or break you. And sure enough, there was a stripping penalty. That should not have been a stripping penalty. It was a loose carry by a Bulldog. The Bulldogs got the penalty. Had it been challenged, it would have been overturned. But wouldn't you know, from that set of six, Stephen Crichton kicked the penalty goal that won the game. So the Dragons not happy with several incidents, but particularly that rule, and that's one that I think the NRL might even bring in the next few weeks. Who knows?
In the next few weeks? You think it'll happen during the season?
Well, possibly. I mean, it was game 2 of the year, and we've had a shocker of a decision decide a game. And it's a pretty easy fix, and it won't really affect any teams more than others. So I can't see any reason not to do it now. And you know what PVL's like. He gets an idea in his head. He goes on with it.
Another team that got flogged, aside from Parramatta Eels, is Hull KR in Vegas, absolutely lapped by Leeds. And it's probably a game that Hull KR fans would want to forget, but one fella you found is going to find it hard to forget it, isn't he?
Yes, and silly things happen in Vegas, and crazy things. And one of the craziest ones was this guy a couple of days before the game got a tattoo, and I'll try sending it to you. And it's on his arm, rather large tattoo as well. It says Hull KR Vegas 2026. I think it's going to end up a nightmare. You can imagine what his mates will say when he starts walking around in a short sleeve shirt showing that tattoo. But to their credit, I walked up and down the strip many times over the past week, and even after the game, the Hull KR fans were still proudly wearing their jerseys. I think if it was me, the way they played, I would have been tempted to burn mine.
And finally, we'd like to tell you about good young players. Who is Jackson Shereb, Tony? And you've sunk. You're hiding like you've burned your jersey. Move up a bit.
Oh, sorry about that. Is that better? I can't see you.
Jackson Shereb.
Yeah, Jackson is a former Dragon. He's aged 25. He was cut by the Dragons and was going to retire. And a fellow you and I know very well, Rowan Smith, we were talking before about feeling old. Well, we both had a lot to do with Rowan's dad, Brian, and Rowan is turning out to be a fine coach in his own right. He coaches North's Devils in Brisbane. He talked Jackson Shereb into going up there. And lo and behold, he had a great season last year, and Manly have picked him up, and he joins their full-time squad next year.
Tony, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for joining us.
On the Hour, rugbyleague.com news.
Ever notice how ads always pop up at the worst moments? When the killer's identity is about to be revealed. During that perfect meditation flow. On Amazon Music, we believe in keeping you in the moment. That's why we've got millions of ad-free podcast episodes, so you can stay completely immersed in every story, every reveal, every breath. Download the Amazon Music app and start listening to your favorite podcasts ad-free, included with Prime.